Good morning. This is Cheryl with Porch Talk. Welcome in. Before we get started, I have been forgetting to ask to like, share, or subscribe to my channel. If you like the content that I'm putting out, it helps me to build the channel. This is a new channel, and I hope to carry on with it and expand it and talk about all different kinds of subjects. So your support helps me grow. All right, I appreciate that very much. So I love this purple love shirt. I do, it's a dress actually. Um, but I thought that I would today talk about how to change. Let's say your life is going in a direction that you don't like, and you decide, I really want to change. It's time to change. Or you're trapped in a situation, with drugs and alcohol, or just, in a situation that you just don't want to be in. And there are some things that I did that, I'm going to share with you that helped me to change from some very difficult circumstances that I was in. And the first thing that came to mind was me thinking about it and identifying that there was a problem, and that the problem were my choices. For whatever reason, caught up in a situation, don't want to face reality, whatever it was. But yeah, so you have to identify that there's an issue, you know and then you got to try to figure out why. Why am I here? Why am I handling this situation like I'm handling it? And the more of how you're handling it, I think, is probably the bigger of the two issues. Because we're all in life, we're going to, excuse me, the gnats are out. It's morning time. They know I come out. They must all wait for me and have a snack on me. But good morning, mushroom coffee. But identifying you have a problem is a big thing. Uh, is your problem alcohol? Is your problem um, anger? Is your problem, um, it could be so many things. But let's just say it's a drug and alcohol problem. You got to find out the root of that problem, right? Is it because I live my life not wanting to be me, not wanting to face my own problems? And I also found that when I lived my life where I couldn't identify it and didn't want to accept that I had a problem, that I lived my life in a loop. And loop you. But I lived my life in a loop where um, the same situations would appear over and over to me. It would be a different person that I would be engaged with, um, or but it always ended up the same. That was the strange part for me, because I thought, surely if I, engage in a different relationship with somebody, that it'll change. And so part of my problem was picking out the wrong people to have relationships with. I don't know if it was an addiction. But it sent me into a tailspin of what I call self-destruction, because I couldn't wrap my head around why that same person kept coming up in my life. So I identified that through me choosing wrong people and putting myself in the same very sad situations where I was left with a big pile of destruction in the end to deal with, from a bad relationship, or just getting tired of always seeing the same person over and over again. in a different body. So I had to identify, my problem there. But the bigger problem was what I did with all those problems. I began to drink alcohol, and I did dabble in some drugs, and that's just honest one-on-one talk, me as a human, not knowing what to do. I chose something to cover my pain, if you want to call it self-medicate. Yeah, I self-medicated for sure. I I had went to somebody, talked to a shrink, like it's something terrible. But I thought I would give that a try. And I had that available to me and didn't learn anything new. They didn't unravel anything I didn't already know. And I knew that the problem was in here and in here. Because it can't help you. Shrinks can only help you identify. They can't do the work for you. So I didn't see the value of continuing forward in that situation. They just said, oh, you need to, drink and, stop picking people out. Well, duh. It's not like I didn't get it. But, oh, they wanted to put me in hypnosis and take me into regression, into my childhood. Well, why would I want to go back there and live that again? So I opted out. Check, I'm out. And said, I got to figure this out on my own. Would it have been a shorter route if I had stuck with a psychologist, I guess is what that person was? Maybe. Would it have been as a valuable experience? I don't know, I don't know that doctors like that really, I think they can, help you identify the surface problems, but the real work comes from you. And I just decided to go it on my own. And in identifying the fact that I was, choosing the same people over and over again, that was the universe trying to tell me something. It was trying to tell me something, that I needed to learn something, because it was appearing every single time that I dated somebody. They were all narcissists, every single one of them. And not to say that they were bad people. They all had challenges in their own life, and I forgive, what transpired. Again, I did some cringy things that, in those relationships to prove to these people that I loved them and that they mattered, and I tried to love them too much. I mean, there's a million different things that you try to do when you're with somebody, but I forgot something. I forgot to love me. The most important part of the equation. I gave myself away to these people who didn't deserve real estate in my headspace, in my mind, or in my heart, or in my soul. Most of them wanted to get to know me because I am an exuberant personality, and I'm not shy. I enjoy life, and I consider myself funny and witty. I do. And a lot of people are very attracted to that. And it's like you're in this box, right? And you're the shiny thing in the box. Everybody sees the shiny thing. And they want to take that box and they want to lift the lid. And the shine is so great for them that it blinds them. They realize that they can't give you what you want. They can't meet your expectations. So then begins the destroying phase, where they tell you, you're nothing special. Who do you think you are? Blah, 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 blah. And, it's always, oh, well, look at what I did for you. And always that craziness. So again, you break up with a relationship, and then comes the self-reflection phase. And you may come to a point to um, where you can figure it out, or there comes a point where you just go, I just don't get it. I don't understand. How can I love these people so much and give them so much and have these relationships turn out the way that they did, with them walking away or cheating or, basically some pretty devastating stuff. So I began consuming alcohol, self-medication. And self-medication works very temporarily, but then you're distorting your mind. You're dishonoring your body. You really are. And you're not solving the problem. It's like anything else. I know you all know people who drink, or maybe you were a drinker at one time yourself. And I still drink wine occasionally, but I water it way down. And it's not a permanent fixation, in my life. And I'm not trying to heal myself or cover up anything anymore. I do it for enjoyment. And but you drink to excess, and you go and go out and have a good time, what you think is a good time, and then you end up making mistakes, in the places that you're having a good time. You offend people, or your actions, you're not who you normally would be. And that can be embarrassing. It can make people put them in a state of judging you, and the world will judge you. They love to judge you. Especially if you're pretty and you're smart, they're going to go, oh, well, look at her now. She's just being a dummy like she always is, drinking all of her booze. And I felt like that became what people thought about me. And not that it really mattered, but I really had to, focus and pay attention about that. And so I was in so much emotional pain from childhood issues, from just rejection, I felt like, of the world, rejection from these partners that I had. I just didn't know what to do. Just did not know what to do. My relationship with God was little to none. I knew something was up there. I didn't think they were on my side. I thought that I was unworthy of having a relationship with God. So I just threw all caution to the wind, and I didn't give a crap. To be truthful, I didn't give a crap. Hurt many people along the way, many people, including my family, my children, who I ask every day for forgiveness, and I thank God for the forgiveness that He's given me. But so how did I get out of that trap? And I really was in the wash, rinse, and repeat cycle right up until about 5 years ago. And that was when COVID came and swept away businesses that I was involved in with a partner, and it just changed everything. My partner became bitter and angry, and we no longer had the restaurant common, and we just didn't jive together anymore, so we split up. And I was able to stay in the place that we lived, which is a gorgeous place, and I managed to make a decision that I needed to learn to love me. I did. And that it was time for me to stop fixating on having somebody in my life. It came time for me to fixate on myself. And through and fixate on my relationship with God and my broken soul that I had. And it's starting to sprinkle. We're supposed to get 4 days of rain, but I'm hoping it'll hold off till I get this done, and then it can pour. I don't care. So basically, in 5 years, I decided that that I was gonna do me. Yeah. I may not be able to make it through this video because the big drops are coming. So, but I will put this on pause for right now and talk about how I started to love me and how I fixed that issue. I'm going to go in because I think it's going to rain. I don't think I have a choice here, so we might have to do under the porch roof talk. I don't know. Let me see if I can fix that. Anyway, stay tuned for part 2. Okay. All right. So there we go. I just improvised. I moved this a little bit. I'm under my stoop, and no rain. It's still raining, so I think this is probably the best alternative. But back to making a decision to change my life, and bottom line is I had to learn to love myself more, and that was really difficult. I'm gonna pull my chair up closer. Excuse me about that. But yeah, so I had to, like I say, make that decision to love myself more. And I realized, that after pretty much my life was blown up after COVID, that I needed to get a job, making enough money to support myself. I took my Social Security early. I still had to apply for that, and yada, yada, yada. One moment, I'm going to grab my coffee. And so there was a lot of stuff for me to deal with. Needless to say, it was somewhat overwhelming, but it wasn't. I'm gonna turn a little bit more lighting's there. But it wasn't undoable, and but I knew it was going to take time because I had a problem with not loving myself, and especially after this last experience was a really bad experience, and there was loss on so many levels that it's not like, okay, I had a bad relationship, check. No, it's losing businesses, losing your stability, and then you're just kind of going, what am I going to do? And you have to be the powerful soul that you are, and you got to figure it out, right? And so I did. And my solution was, I found a job doing something. I took a job for probably way less than the value of my skills, but at that point, I just wanted to get a job and not have the incredible amount of responsibility that I had with the restaurants, and kind of give myself a little break and not be in the grind so hard, because the restaurant business, unmercifully grinding on yourself, on one spirit, your soul, your physical being. In fact, my partner ended up having some severe health problems, and I think that probably they were there, but the stress from the restaurant caused him for his stuff to accelerate. He ended up having to have multiple heart stents, and at that point, that was the reason why we decided to end that business. And also because it wasn't working anymore, and because we were not working anymore, and he was my partner at the time too. So, but anyway, just that was a quick little background check, and I decided moving forward that getting a fun job, and these people really liked me, and I met a beautiful lady, Tamika. I love you, Tamika. She's my super duper best friend. and she was my boss. And at first, I didn't know what to think about her. She was a very strong woman, and so maybe I wasn't intimidated by her, but I think we were two alpha females, if you want to know. But she's way more alpha than me. That girl she's got it going on. She's still got it going on. And but her and I talked and we chatted and we really clicked, and I loved that. It made my job it's so much wonderful, and so much more wonderful. I don't even know if that's the correct form of speech, but I loved my interactions with her. And she wasn't there all the time because they had an Amazon business as well. So she was split between two places, but her and I began to talk personally. And she is a very strong, wise woman herself who's been through a ton of experiences. And in fact, she's getting ready to put out a book. And in fact, I want to travel up to her and maybe have her as a guest speaker. I'm going to have some guest speakers. Her knowledge is impeccable, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful soul who's really helped me in times that I didn't have anybody else helping me, and she was there. She was there for me. She's truly my friend, and but I had made a decision. Like say I got the job, applied for Social Security, and then I went down to working part-time, which was fine. I worked Monday through Friday, best hours, banker's hours, better than bank hours. Didn't work weekends. And they respected my situation, what I was going through, especially Tamika. She understood that, and plus I have, children, grown children, but I have grandchildren. I had a lot of irons in the fire. And so I was allowed to deal with those things as they came up, or whatever you want to call it. So I decided that I was going to take me time, and I was going to take that time to clear everything out of my head, get past my anger of the failing relationship and the failing things, the disappointment. And I resigned myself that I would be alone. I had become very overweight. I was 292 pounds. I'm only 5 foot tall. So, and I think that, honestly, I think I allowed myself to get to that point because I wanted to keep people away from me. And I used my fat as a way to keep people away from me. This can happen. It's a form of kind of self-medication. You don't want people near you. You don't want to talk to them. You don't want to deal with all the drama. Eat, gain weight, and then food becomes your best friend and your lover. Yeah. So, I went through that, and then one day I woke up. It's probably 2 years ago. It's been about 2 years ago. And I said, "What are you doing to yourself? Do you want to live? Do you want to die an early death? Do you want to be miserable? Do you want to make your children take care of you?" Because I was getting ready to, I could tell my health was getting ready to plummet downhill. Swollen ankles every day and so much pain. I couldn't even, working my 6-hour shift was about all I could do. I mean, it was it. That was it. I would come home, prop my feet up, drink, until I decided to cut most of that out too. And I think I did that mostly for just out of habit, out of habit. But so when I did that, my mind cleared, and my intentions of what I wanted to do became clearer. And then during the time that I had alone, I had to examine. Excuse me. I had to examine it, but it was boom, right in my face. My mistakes, the stuff that we do, super hard. The real playing in your mind all the crap that you did, and how am I ever going to be able to dig my way out of this? And how can I get forgiveness from people? And maybe I deserve to die early. I don't know. I don't know what was in my mind. But I found the GLPs, the weight loss thing. Got on those, started to lose weight, started to feel better. It was like it helped me with my mental clarity so much. And it began to let me feel some hope. And I think that's the part too. I lost hope in a lot of things, and hope in the ability to change the direction in my life. Even though I had been a big believer that you are the creator of your own life, but I created a very bad scenario for myself, not even really knowing. I think I just let it build, and I just felt like nobody cared. So I had to care for me. I had to love me. Anyway, got on the GLP, the retatrutide, which is my business now. I sell that. And I sell peptides to help other people, reach other goals as well. And I started getting better. I started feeling better about myself. I started looking better. I started kind of going, okay, maybe I have a chance here to recoup some of the things that I lost. But it still took a lot of soul searching to change me. And in my aloneness, in my retirement, my early retirement, my decision not to let people into my life took me in a direction where I was kind of lonely. And but I resisted any kind of contact with people because I wanted to focus on loving me more. And when you have so much stuff going on, and it's really hard to love you, it's really hard to focus in on your value and your worth as a person. But I managed to do that, and I did it through prayer. I did it through allowing God to come in and work in my life. I did it through lots of talks that I watched on YouTube. And I know YouTube you can find a lot of stuff you don't need to know. It can be irritating. A lot of people are really addicted to it. But it can be helpful. And it helped me go aha. A lot of times I had those aha moments, and I could turn around and I could apply those in my life. But most of what I learned was I just needed to be still, and I needed to sit. I needed to sit with me, with myself. And I needed to talk with myself and talk with God and say, what are we doing? Where are we going? What do you want? Do you want to, and this, it's hard for me to put into words, and I chose to live my life with intent, with intentionally living my life in gratitude, and being very careful about the things that I said, the people that I chose to let into my life. But as time went on, it became easier and easier for me, and I started to accept healing from God. And I think that was, a big turning point when I realized that God was, still loved me very much. And I could hear him talking to me, saying it's okay. And I could feel his comfort around me. And I felt safe to do the work that I needed to do. and which included, in other talks, you'll see forgiveness, placing value. You have to reshuffle everything. But a lot of what helped me to change as well is getting away from all of those things that areas, bars, people, even that I had relationships with that were no longer serving me. When I moved up here to Georgia, which isn't very far away from where I lived, but it kind of self isolated me, which I really needed. I needed to stop being influenced by people, places, and things. And where I lived before seemed to be a dangerous concoction of those things that really helped and caused, in a lot of ways, new trauma. But up here, guess what I have? I have me, and I have nature, and I have God. And I haven't made a lot of attempts to bring people in my life or make friends because it really wasn't important to me. I decided that I really needed to, like say, work on me. But as time went on and I slowly accepted the fact that God did love me and that He had forgiven me, and, we'd had lots and lots of talks about, have you learned your lesson? And I said, thank you for the lessons that you've given me over and over and over again. But not God's fault. My fault. My fault because I didn't learn. But it was a tangled package to unweave, too much to learn in opening one package, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, that's how I changed. You got to change people, places, and things. And you got to change, your headspace. And you have to you have to sit with yourself, and you have to rely on your instincts that hopefully God is leading you through and giving you some instincts. And a lot of times I think your instincts are kind of a test to say, do you hear me? This is the universe, the spirit talking to you. Do you hear what I'm saying? Listen to what I'm saying. And then you got the other guy on the other shoulder going, oh, don't listen to that. What are you? They don't know what they're talking about. You're just do what you want to do, And so you have to kind of overcome that battle of good and evil, good and bad, light and dark, yin and yang, whatever you want to call it. But we all go through that. But on the other side of being healed from my self-destructiveness, which I'm so grateful for, it first came with identifying that there was an issue there, and but you have to be willing to do the work, and it does take a lot of